Leica and Panasonic really need to get their act together when it comes to lenses for the L mount. I have some gripes, some complaints, some criticisms, but ultimately they're suggestions for how Leica and Panasonic can succeed with what they're trying to do with the L mount. But before we get started, like this video, hit the subscribe button, and consider joining the channel. Channel members get exclusive access to Filmmaker Alchemy, behind the scenes lessons and insights on the business of video production. Learn how to turn your content into gold. I'm hoping that this can be a wake-up call for Leica and Panasonic, or Lumix, depending on how you define it, to just realize that they have so much potential with the L mount that they're completely not capitalizing on. You see, when I think back to the DSLR days, there was Canon and Nikon, the EF mount and the F mount. That was it when it came to professional lenses. Yes, of course, there's other cameras and other mounts, but in general, in pop culture, in the zeitgeist, EF mount and F mount, that was it. Then you had Panasonic, Leica, Olympus, the Micro Four Thirds mount, mirrorless. This was kind of a game changer, kind of a revolution. Oh, we don't have a mirror in our DSLR anymore. This is a hybrid. It's mirrorless. Let's go with Micro Four Thirds. Much smaller sensor, different technology, but it was competitive because it was different. And then Sony had the Alpha mount, which didn't really work out. The A mount didn't work at all. Well, it worked, but it wasn't successful. However, they figured out, hey, there's something to this mirrorless, and if our sensors are bigger, maybe that can be our differentiator. We'll compete in sensor size with Canon and Nikon having APS-C and full frame, but we're going to have the E mount, and we're going to go mirrorless. And that was also a differentiator, a competitive advantage, a competitive edge for Sony. They further improved on that with their autofocus technology, and really, at that point, it was off like a rocket ship. Plenty of people going to Sony because it was mirrorless and because it had great autofocus technology. And here Panasonic is with their Micro Four Thirds, still investing in that. Great cameras, I love them. A little smaller, a little bit more compact. The lenses were supposed to be smaller and more compact and supposedly cheaper because of it. Yes, there were some trade-offs. There were some sacrifices. Your depth of field, you couldn't get quite as shallow as what you can get with full frame. But, you know, certainly good in terms of video features and performance with things like the GH4, the GH5. Very good reasons to go with Micro Four Thirds. But now we find ourselves in an age in 2025 where we've got the L mount, we've got the Z mount from Nikon, we've got the RF mount from Canon, we've still got the E mount from Sony, and we may even have a few more that I'm forgetting. But basically, everything is mirrorless now, and everyone is shooting video. If I think of Canon, Nikon, Sony, Lumix, they all do video, they all do great video. All the mounts are mirrorless, so you get all those benefits. They all have IBIS, they all have autofocus, phase detect, etc. They're all becoming one giant similar package of no matter what you buy or whatever brand you pick, it all more or less does kind of the same stuff. It's all full frame now, right? Lumix figured that out with their S lineup. So we've got full frame mirrorless cameras that all do video well to some degree. But yet we have 4 different lens mounts in that lineup. All the cameras do kind of the same stuff, but the lens mounts are all different. Do you want E mount, Z mount, RF, L mount? What do you want? And why would you even want it? Because the cameras are all the same. Here's where that lens mount matters. It's not about the camera, because like I said, they're more or less all the same. Full frame, video features, basically all doing the same stuff, ProRes, RAW, whatever, frame rates. Yes, there's some differences in the sensor technology, but in general, they all more or less do the same thing. But those lens mounts are different. And if the lenses were different, we'd actually have some competitiveness in the market. Bring back that differentiator, right? But no, we get a 24-70, we get a 16-35, we have 85 millimeter primes, we've got some telephoto stuff, the 70-200, all the same standard typical lenses that we had from the DSLR days, which, yes, that can be the baseline, that can be the foundation, but you have to build up off of it. I'm sick of seeing the exact same lenses, version 2, version 3 of the same old stuff we had 20 years ago. I think a lot of those lenses and those focal ranges were designed for photographers in mind, and they happen to work well for video too, but I think there's some new, more interesting stuff we can actually get with the L mount or any of these modern mirrorless mounts if they just mix up those focal ranges and have some differentiators between what does it mean to have a Nikon lens, a Canon lens, a Sony lens, or a Panasonic lens. You'll see interesting lenses from time to time, like quirky oddball stuff where, hey, this one's a little bit faster. Now it's an f2 instead of a 2.8. Or Sigma is trying some interesting stuff with their contemporary lenses, making them smaller, more compact, and slightly different. Yes, build quality or aperture range is not quite as prestigious as their art series, but they also have their sport lineup as well. But Sigma is making lenses for all sorts of mounts, and that will continue. So what does Panasonic and Leica need to do? Well, if they're the primary ones driving the L mount, they can't keep relying on more companies to join the L mount. Yes, of course, that should be part of the strategy long term. Let's get all these third-party lens makers on board with the L mount so they're now first party. Sure, but no one wants to join your club if you're not leading the charge. I saw so many cool, unique lenses on Micro Four Thirds that I just am not seeing the equivalent on full frame. Leica made incredible Micro Four Third lenses, the 10 to 25, the 25 to 50, and the 50 to 200, as well as some other interesting primes for Micro Four Thirds. The 42.5, beautiful, beautiful prime lens for Micro Four Thirds, actually solved a problem, checked a box, gave you something on Micro Four Thirds that could look very similar to a full frame camera. That 42.5 f1.2 on Micro Four Thirds, razor sharp, beautiful image quality, similar to an 85 millimeter on full frame, but Micro Four Thirds, and actually smaller and beneficial for what you would want a Micro Four Thirds camera to do. I want to see that same ingenuity, that same creativity, that same uniqueness brought to the L mount from the primary shareholders. Leica and Panasonic lead the charge. Don't keep relying on Sigma to make cool lenses. Yeah, they're cool lenses, but they're also for E-mount. So again, what's the competitive differentiator? What are you doing different that no one else has access to? The cameras, again, the bodies are becoming very, very similar. So we need something interesting on the lens side to actually get people to want to invest in that mount, because the mount matches with the lens, right? The mount could be interchangeable. There's no reason that these cameras have to have a particular lens mount, but if you make unique lenses that are only L mount or E mount or Z mount or RF mount, then all of a sudden that's a pull, that's a factor for driving people to your business, to your brand, investing in it. So that's what I want to see from Leica and Panasonic. I want to see more leadership on the L mount side. I want to see lenses that are different, that no one else is making, that stand out, that kind of make a splash in the market. Something like a 20 to 50. That's one easy suggestion. That's just a mirror of the 10 to 25 on Micro Four Thirds. Leica made the 10 to 25. Make the 20 to 50 full frame equivalent. Just do it, put it out there, and don't charge $10,000 for it. That's ridiculous. That's absurd. Panasonic, you've got your decent lens lineup that we've seen for years now, your primes, your zooms. What's new? What else is coming? I know there's a lot of people eager for more telephoto options. I'm eager for just better zoom ranges all around. Sigma is doing their part. They're doing their fair share, making stuff that's interesting. But I need to see more from Panasonic and Leica actually making new, unique lenses that aren't just another version of a 24 to 70 or a 70 to 200, or, hey, we finally made the 16 to 35 and now it's a 2.8 like it was 20 years ago. Well, ours was an f4 for some reason. No, we get weird, what was it, the 26 or the 28 pancake that's like an f8 and doesn't even have autofocus. Yeah, we get things that are kind of interesting, like the 18 to 40, that basically is small and compact, but doesn't give you more, usability beyond a point and shoot. So we do have some kind of stuff, but I don't know, it's nothing really to be all that excited for, because it's not doing anything all that different. It's not offering something that's never been done before. I want to see more innovation. I want to see more ingenuity and creative design in terms of what they're putting out, and products that, like, I can't even recommend because I want it to blow my mind. I want it to surprise me, and I want it to surprise you as well. Something that we can look at and go, wow, I didn't even think that was possible. Like a 20 to 70. Blow my mind, make something incredible, make a statement, put it out there. Of course, patent it. Yes, it doesn't have to be dirt cheap. You have the other manufacturers to make the cheaper consumer grade entry level type stuff. You know, the stuff you find on Amazon for $100, $200. I'm looking for that, you know, upwards of middle of the road. You know, you're spending a good amount on it, but you're also getting a really good quality product, well thought out, and again, unique. Make something that's a differentiator. Because right now, I think a lot of us are looking at it going like, yeah, it's all more or less the same. You know, do you like Nikon? Do you like Canon? Do you like Sony? Do you like Lumix? Like, it's all kind of the same, or more or less does what you need it to do. So you're just picking one mirrorless mount over the other with no real reason to go one way or the other than, you know, that long-term potential and cost savings. If you're going with Canon RF, you're very limited in what Canon will let you do for that mount, which is very different from what they did with the EF mount back in the DSLR days. Canon shifted their strategy to locking down the RF and, only Canon lenses, you know, work. And you see what Sony's doing with the E mount, where their lenses are prioritized while everyone else's aren't. And I don't really know as much about Nikon and what they're doing with all their lenses, but they're, you know, they exist, they're mirrorless, and they're doing a great job on their video side of their camera bodies. But I think there's a lot of potential here for the L mount that is just so far going, you know, unseen. We're not seeing the benefits of L mount like we should be. If you're getting all these people on board, Blackmagic, DJI, Samyang, and more, there's always more people joining the L mount, but what are they joining? And who's leading the charge? And what's actually getting people excited? That's what I want to see more of.